Breaking tonight, Hurricane Beryl lashes Jamaica and sets its sights on Mexico.
It has been very bad. I mean, very, very bad.
A life-threatening storm pummels the Caribbean. The damage, devastation, and the threat still unfolding. Joe Biden pushes back against multiple reports he's considering bowing out of the race.
It is absolutely false. That's coming directly from him.
And a new warning about toddlers, tantrums, and tablets.
Screens used as a calming strategy becomes a vicious cycle.
Why soothing with screen time could have lasting effects.
From CBC News, this is The National with Asha Tomlinson.
Thanks for joining us. Adrian is away. We begin tonight with Hurricane Beryl and its destructive path through the Caribbean. In Jamaica, people are sheltering in place as dangerous winds and violent waves lash the island. The eye of the storm has skirted the southern coast, creating storm surges 2 to 3 meters high in some areas. Blackouts have hit parts of the capital, Kingston, so the full extent of the damage may not be known for some time. But Beryl is still on the move. The Cayman Islands will be its next target tonight and into tomorrow, before moving on to Mexico and southern Texas into the weekend. But first, Sasha Petrusik shows us the situation unfolding in Jamaica as the deadly storm roars over the island.
With winds pushing more than 200 kilometers per hour, pounding rain and surging seas, Hurricane Beryl bore down on Jamaica.
It has been very bad. I mean, very, very bad.
Hitting this eastern tip first off Nicole Shirley Phillips' porch.
It's raining. We had gusts of rain. A lot of trees are down. A lot of banana trees are going to be down.
Jamaica is used to hurricanes, but not like this. Beryl has come much earlier in the season. Its strength has grown much faster.
When we realized that this was coming for us, it was like panic, like, oh my goodness, it's been a while since we've had this happen.
The storm has already left a trail of havoc and death in the eastern Caribbean, damaging or destroying 90% of the houses on Union Island near Grenada.
To see this level of destruction, it is almost Armageddon-like, almost total damage or destruction of all buildings, complete devastation and destruction of agriculture.
With the northern eye wall on land over southern portions of the island.
As it hit Jamaica, even meteorologists from the U.S. Hurricane Center were surprised.
So very dangerous conditions ongoing now in Jamaica, and they are going to continue for the next several hours.
Experts say Beryl's fury is fueled by warmer than normal temperatures in the Atlantic Ocean.
Our region bears the brunt of the impacts of climate change.
Indeed, many more hurricanes are expected in the Atlantic. Instead of the usual 7 per year, meteorologists say as many as 12 may follow in the coming months. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Toronto.
This storm is still hammering the southern coast of the island tonight, and there are now new reports of damage. I spoke earlier to journalist Ricardo Brooks, who is hosting a call-in radio show from Kingston. Ricardo, you're on the air tonight. What are you hearing from your listeners about the extent of the damage?
Right, so it really matters where they are in the island. Those who are in the eastern sections of the island, Portland, St. Thomas, they took a battering this morning. There were significant storm surges. There have been reports of damage to buildings. In fact, the major international airport here in Kingston, we just reported a section of the roof has been damaged. The transport minister indicating that a plan will need to be put in place to ensure that the airport can open for passengers seamlessly. Obviously, the system would have come at us from the southeast, and so those parishes took the brunt of the battering this morning.
Right, and in your experience, how does this compare to other hurricanes?
Well, I think, first of all, the response was much more coordinated. You got a clear sense that the government took this very seriously, and the state apparatus was activated 48 hours ahead. The communication was succinct and clear, And you got the sense that the government and the state was ready. Unfortunately, like in past hurricanes, our citizens, some of them in the danger zones, in the low-lying flood-prone areas, didn't take the warning seriously. And so this morning, we had the uncomfortable situation of elected representatives literally going into these communities and pleading and begging people to leave.
Journalist Ricardo Brooks in Kingston, Jamaica tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And late tonight, Canada says it will provide $1 million in critical aid in the wake of Hurricane Beryl. The minister in charge posted the announcement on social media, saying partners and response teams are supporting people affected in the Caribbean region. Turning to Washington and some tense times at the White House, where Joe Biden is pushing back against concerns about his mental fitness. The presidential election is just 4 months away. To his party and his country, Biden's message is clear. He's in this race to win it. But as Paul Hunter explains, new reports are casting new doubt.
Questions now follow Joe Biden with every step. Is he unfit to be president? Too old, too feeble for the job, even now, let alone for another 4 years? At this White House ceremony, he seemed fine.
Ordinary Americans who showed extraordinary courage.
But those worries grow louder.
We are laying out and explaining exactly what happened.
For the second straight day, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre facing pointed questions on the president's mental acuity and his political future. Asked straight up, will he step down?
Absolutely not.
And on multiple reports that he's now actively considering ending his bid for re-election.
No, it is absolutely false. That's coming directly from him. The president is clear-eyed, and he is staying in the race. I don't have anything else beyond that. He's staying in the race.
President of the United States, Joe Biden.
All of it continued fallout from that debate last week with former President Donald Trump. Deemed an utter disaster for Biden, stumbling often and seeming to lose his train of thought.
Everything we have to do with
A new poll now suggesting Trump's lead on Biden among U.S. voters is widening. Biden's supporters, be they lawmakers, donors, friends, signaling worries his bid for re-election is imploding. On that, Democrat state governors met directly with the president for what they later described as an honest, candid conversation on the key question, can he do the job?
Do you think he's fit for office? Yes, fit for office.
But meanwhile, reports Biden himself knows there's a serious problem and that the next few days are crucial for determining his future. Under pressure to prove to all he's fit for office and re-election, and to push back on the sudden and sobering concerns he is not. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is also facing questions about his leadership, which dominated his first news conference since that surprise by-election loss more than a week ago. Ashley Burke now with why some of his MPs are thinking of calling it quits.
What's your name? After losing one of the safest Liberal seats in the country, the Prime Minister returned to the safety of home. His Papineau riding trying to push ahead with business as usual, when the unrest in his caucus is anything but.
Last week's by-election loss, not to sugarcoat it, was challenging. Was something we need to take seriously.
At his first news conference since the surprise defeat in Toronto St. Paul's, Justin Trudeau faced questions about his leadership. This after Liberal MP Wayne Long called for him to go. And another Liberal MP told CBC News a number of MPs are now considering not running if Trudeau is at the helm.
Are you willing to stay on and lose members of your caucus?
I think the conversations that I'm having with MPs directly right across the country, the conversations that we're all having as Liberals are going to continue.
One MP told us the exact opposite. He will only run again if Trudeau does too.
I've made a commitment to Justin Trudeau to be a candidate in the next election. I'm committed to running as long as he is the leader.
Ministers came to his defense publicly for the second week in a row.
I think he is the right leader for us. He's won 3 elections. We formed government 3 times.
The industry minister asked if he'd run for leader if Trudeau steps down.
I have been very clear over the last few days that Justin Trudeau is the leader of the Liberal Party of Canada. I support it, obviously.
Multiple Liberal sources say that caucus is demanding change, either to cabinet, the Prime Minister's senior staff, or government policies, and that they want to see evidence of that change in the coming weeks, not wait until caucus is scheduled to meet in September. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
A boil water advisory is now lifted for people in and around Halifax after tests showed the drinking water is safe. The advisory was issued Monday after an electrical problem at a water treatment plant caused unchlorinated water to enter the system. That prompted several businesses and daycares to close. Halifax Water says appliances that store water should be flushed for 10 minutes and any ice discarded. Good news for the people of Churchill Falls in Labrador. The wildfire evacuation order has lifted after 2 weeks, and the fire threatening the Labrador community is classified as being held. So support crews are preparing the town of about 750 residents to return home. Pro-Palestinian protesters have now packed up and cleared their encampment at the University of Toronto. This after a 6 p.m. court-imposed deadline and the possibility police would move in.
We are leaving on our terms to protect our community from the violence that the University of Toronto is clearly eager to unleash upon us.
Supporters rallied, then marched, marking the end of what would have been 2 months of camping out on school grounds. Protesters are demanding, among other things, that the university divest from companies profiting from Israel's offensive in Gaza. The message they left behind: we will return. In just hours now, voters in the UK seem poised to force a seismic change in politics. The Labour Party is expected to win the general election, ending 14 years of Conservative rule. Briar Stewart now with the final push before a major upheaval.
It was Lewis flat 8, undecided.
Across the UK, the final push for votes.
Okay, right.
In the town of Watford, volunteers canvass for the local Labour candidate.
Tories have not been good for the United Kingdom, and that's the essence of it.
And they say that's what they hear from the voters they managed to speak with on the doorstep. This constituency is a real priority for the Labour Party because they believe there's enough support to win a seat here, which they haven't done since Tony Blair was Prime Minister. Watford is a commuter town just outside of London. It's considered a bellwether riding. Voters here usually elect whichever party ends up forming the government.
Everybody I'm talking to, it seems like they want a change.
I think I would vote for the Labour Party. I think they are more geared towards looking after working class people.
Labour leader Keir Starmer is on the brink of becoming Britain's next Prime Minister.
We are fighting for every vote.
Polls point to Labour winning a significant majority. Even some Conservatives believe their scandal-plagued party will lose big, which is why in a last-ditch effort, Boris Johnson popped up on the campaign trail, throwing his support behind Rishi Sunak, the man who helped push him out of the Prime Minister's office.
You like pepperoni?
Sunak spent his final hours on the campaign trail trying to appeal to families, but his time in power is almost certainly fleeting. The big question, observers say, is what happens next.
We in this country face really serious economic problems. If Labour don't manage to do something about that, the danger is that the next election will be an even more angry election with more and more people voting against the mainstream and looking for alternatives.
Because while Labour is poised to take over the government, it will also inherit all of the country's problems too.
Briar, you're outside 10 Downing Street, where Keir Starmer is expected to be moving in soon. What else are you watching for tomorrow?
Well, Asha, all of the polls point to a significant Labour majority, but the question is just how many seats will the party win? How many seats will the Conservatives secure? And what about the other parties, the Liberal Democrats, the Greens, and Reform UK, a party which is hoping to siphon off votes from the Conservatives and secure its first seats in Parliament? The other big question is just what happens to the Tories. Rishi Sunak called this election early. Does he resign immediately after the results come in? Or does he stay on while the Conservatives choose yet another leader?
Briar Stewart in London, thank you. WestJet now says it has stabilized operations and is working to fully recover after the strike over the weekend. The airline says more than 1,100 flights were canceled and more than 100,000 passengers impacted. But even as they attempt to return to normal operations, 8 more flights will still be canceled on Thursday. WestJet passengers aren't the only ones wondering about their compensation rights. Ottawa promised to simplify the process more than a year ago. But as Sophia Harris tells us, we're still waiting for those changes to arrive.
Retired RCMP officer Norm Massey enjoyed his trip to Vancouver, attending a youth basketball tournament he co-founded. But he didn't enjoy the trip home. His flight was delayed more than 14 hours.
So what was that like to spend 14 hours in the airport?
I'll tell you, it's not pleasant at all.
Air Canada rejected his claim for compensation. In an email to Massey, Air Canada blamed unforeseen maintenance, which was within its control but required for safety-related reasons. Under current regulations, airlines must pay compensation, up to $1,000, for delays within their control, unless they're safety-related.
Do you think that they're just using the safety clause to deny you compensation?
Absolutely. That's what I feel. And until they prove otherwise, that's the way I'll continue to feel.
Massey has company. The Canadian Transportation Agency has a backlog of more than 72,000 air passenger complaints, many over compensation for flight disruptions.
There will be no more loopholes.
More than a year ago, Ottawa proposed new rules to simplify the compensation process and close supposed loopholes, like the required for safety category.
It's a huge gray area that really only the carriers can take advantage of.
This consumer advocate believes the new rules should have arrived by now.
This is really becoming a very long delay, and it's very unfortunate for passengers.
There's a regulatory process. It takes a certain amount of time.
The CTA says it must consider all sides before changing the current regulations.
We are looking at how to factor in the airline input as well as the consumer advocacy input that we receive.
Airlines argue getting rid of the safety exception penalizes airlines for taking safety precautions that delay flights. Meanwhile, Ottawa has yet to announce an arrival date for when those new rules will land. Sophia Harris, CBC News, Toronto.
A history-making move in the NHL tonight. The Seattle Kraken has hired the league's first full-time female assistant coach on the bench. Jessica Campbell was previously assistant coach with the Kraken's minor league franchise, where she broke the very same ground. She has also worked with teams in Europe and used to play for Canada's women's national team. New research out tonight is shedding light on the impact of using digital devices to soothe young kids.
Screens used as a calming strategy becomes a vicious cycle.
The worrying effects it could have on kids' development. Next. Plus, concerns about the increase in the capital gains tax.
It's going to increase the cost for that next generation.
The tough choices facing some family farms. And later, after their lives were torn apart by war, 2 best friends reunite. The moment they finally meet again, here in Canada. We're back in 2. Thousands have been ordered to leave their homes in Northern California because of a raging wildfire. The Thompson fire is burning an hour outside of Sacramento, tearing through homes and vehicles. It's grown to more than 3,500 acres. California's governor has declared a state of emergency for Butte County. There is new research tonight about the impact digital devices have on our kids. It says handing a child a tablet or a phone when they have a tantrum could lead to future issues. Tashana Reed now with the new warning for parents.
Chriselle Vaz has always been conscious of her son Caden's screen time.
Initially, I was hoping for the ideal, like no screen time at all.
You just want to sit and watch.
Now he's 4 with a newborn sister, and Vaz finds she reaches for the remote more often.
We didn't have much family support systems here to help me manage household chores. I had to rely on digital screens and devices to help me get some work done.
A new study surveyed more than 300 families in Nova Scotia with children aged 2 to 5. Parents reported how often they use digital devices to calm their kids. 1 year later, researchers found the more often parents gave their children digital devices to calm tantrums, the more difficulty their kids had managing their anger and frustration.
As parents, we need to be able
Experts say screens only offer a short-term fix.
It again drives home the point that screens used as a calming strategy becomes a vicious cycle.
Pediatrician Dr. Michelle Ponte says it's important for parents to not over-rely on devices.
It's harder for them to learn self-regulation, emotional regulation. As parents, we need to be able to help co-regulate and teach our kids that without a screen.
Other studies have linked too much screen time to language delays, attention problems, and sleep issues for younger kids. The Canadian Pediatric Society says parents should be mindful and enforce time limits, ensure content is educational and age-appropriate, and be present.
Do what you gotta do. Exactly.
But experts do acknowledge sometimes parents just need a break.
I think you have to be kind to yourself. You have to not over-rely on these things, but you also have to recognize that sometimes you just have to.
Is that a bumpy ride?
For Chriselle and Caden, the screen doesn't replace quality time together outdoors. Another good reason to hit the off button. Tashana Reid, CBC News, Toronto.
A growing number of farmers are expressing their opposition to changes in the capital gains tax.
They're going to be paying more when it comes time to make the next transition to Generation 4.
The impact on family-run farms. Plus, in one European country, an explosion of solar-generated power.
If you do the math, there's more solar panels here per person than anywhere in Europe.
What Canada could learn from its example. And Canada's biggest cities have a condo problem.
Condo flippers are getting absolutely slaughtered right now.
Why so many are sitting empty. The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. Incredible scenes in Sicily as Mount Etna erupted with a cascade of lava. It was the volcano's first eruption in 4 years. Mount Etna is Europe's tallest active volcano, with records dating back to as early as 425 BC. Farmers are speaking out about the recent changes to the capital gains tax. As Alexander Silberman explains, there are concerns they could deter young people from keeping their farm in the family.
Jake Legui knows the fields of his Saskatchewan grain farm well, the same land his family has harvested for 3 generations. Legui hopes to eventually transfer the land to his 3 sons, but with rising costs to enter the farming business, including taxes, he's concerned that might be challenging.
They're going to be paying more when it comes time to make the next transition to Generation 4. So, it's a long-term concern, but it's something we're definitely already thinking about.
Farmers like Legui are speaking out over changes to the capital gains tax. Until last week, only 50% of profits, or capital gains, were taxable. Now 66% of profits will be taxed. The value of Canadian farmland has been soaring in recent years, and that's making it lucrative for non-farmer investors to buy up properties. National agriculture groups say that's creating steep startup costs for young people looking to begin farming.
This will only accelerate that because it's going to increase the cost for that next generation that are looking to take over. And if they don't have the means or the funds to be able to take over, large corporate farms are gonna move in and buy up all that land.
Grain Growers of Canada calculates a typical farm in Ontario purchased in the 1990s would sell for about $15 million today. That would mean more than $13 million in profits. Under the old system, the farmer would pay $3.8 million, but with the changes, that amount goes up to $4.9 million. This farm tax expert says every farmer's situation is different, but says some are having to revisit retirement plans.
And it's caused some stressful conversations amongst some particular clients and people in the industry.
But the federal finance minister says there are allowances to make it easier. When a farm changes hands, the first $1.25 million of capital gains is tax exempt. The increase only applies to anything over and above that.
you are actually going to be better off under the new system than you were previously if you are a founding farmer or entrepreneur.
Jake Legui isn't so sure. He hopes the next generation of farmers is taxed at the original rate. Alexander Silberman, CBC News, near Fillmore, Saskatchewan.
Now it's time to break down the stories shaping our world. Why thousands of condos sit empty in the middle of a housing crisis.
This is the den. Doesn't even fit an entire table.
But first, what makes the Netherlands a dazzling superstar in solar power?
Our company wins. I think the whole of the Netherlands wins.
Why they outshine Canada too, by a long shot. Susan Ormiston, our international climate correspondent, shows us why solar is flourishing overseas and what could put that at risk.
The height of the building, the roof edge is about 40 meters.
There's power in rooftops, lots of it.
So what's the size of this?
So the building is about 10,000 square meters.
Bart Mij with Dutch company Sunrock is showing us its potential. Right now, they're installing fittings for 1,700 solar panels on the top of an industrial building.
Nobody will see the panels, and we're still producing energy on a space which is used double. So storage in the inside, green energy on the roof. We are renting the roof from the building owner, and in the end we sell our electricity back to the grid.
Within a month, there will be a version of this, and it will produce electricity to power about 300 Dutch homes.
After a slower start, solar is rocketing in the Netherlands. If you do the math, there's more solar panels here per person than anywhere in Europe. About 2 solar panels for every person living here.
It's not hard to find them on Dutch homes or on water. The Netherlands is a small country and land is precious. What they do have is a lot of water, so they've constructed floating solar parks on lakes, more here than almost anywhere else except China. So why the solar surge here? It's cheaper. Prices for solar components have dropped as much as 50%. It's more secure after gas prices spiked in Europe over Russia's war in Ukraine. Repower EU is a plan to transition to new energy sources.
We are ready at Sunrock to support this energy transition.
Kaya Engler has 2 decades in the solar business and is now seeing its fast-paced growth.
The cost to invest in solar energy has come down a lot. However, as it's a long-term investment over 20 years, there needs to be security from the government that there is stable regulation for the years to come.
Sunrock, headquartered in Amsterdam, is a Dutch leader in rooftop solar. Even the office decor pays homage to the sun, and the company's expanding. Solar is the fastest growing sector of electricity investment worldwide. About 1 billion panels will be manufactured this year, mostly by China, and the sun is already producing 6% of the world's electrical needs. So how does Canada compare? The Netherlands, with 17 million citizens, has installed over 24 gigawatts of solar capacity, while Canada, with 41 million people, has installed over 5 gigawatts of solar capacity.
Renewables are kind of interesting. You know, it's undeniable that there obviously have become more politicized here in Canada.
Canada's abundance of hydroelectricity and oil and gas has meant less incentive to build up solar, unlike the Netherlands. But add to that political headwinds.
These things take time.
Such as Alberta's moratorium last year on new renewable projects.
I think it's fair to say that the result of the policies that are being put into place is going to have an impact to slow investment into solar.
She is optimistic that will change.
We're poised to see more of this growth happening across Canada.
But Europe is watching the politics too.
Enough of this climate madness.
With political winds shifting in the EU, there is concern government's commitments to supercharge the renewable sector will change, and business doesn't like uncertainty.
There's obviously a risk that this progress, and there's very positive progress that has been made, might slow down, which obviously then has consequences for us as a business, but also for climate change.
Meantime, solar installations are doubling globally every 3 years.
Our company wins. I think the environment wins as well because we're placing it on a roof. I think the whole of the Netherlands wins because we are building a greener future together.
The future challenge is less, can it work? And more, how do we store so much sun power?
Susan Ormiston showed us the Netherlands, and here's some solar news from Canada. More than 6,000 panels are now in place at this diamond mine in the Northwest Territories. The mine is set to shut down over 3 years. During that time, the company Rio Tinto says power from the sun will save about 3 million litres of diesel. Coming up, in the midst of a housing crisis, thousands of condos are not being used.
Majority of these towers, they are half empty.
Why all those shoebox condos are such a tough sell. Andrew Chang breaks that down next. Why cities with a housing shortage also have a glut of empty condos.
Look how small this bedroom is.
We add up how financial winds have shifted.
No one will pay the rent that would allow you not to go broke.
And where this could all be headed. Andrew Chang, host of About That, shows us why so many tiny boxes can't find a buyer or tenant and how that strikes fear in the owners.
Want to show you something. Cute little condo in Toronto's Harbourfront neighborhood, bustling part of the city. It goes on the market. In the summer of 2022, the sellers put it up for $480,000. It didn't sell. Early 2023, it's back on the market for $460K. No luck. Later that year, posted again at $450K, still nothing, and a few months ago, the sellers tried again at $430,000. No takers. This condo was sitting on the market for more than 400 days without a sale. Right now, in Canada's biggest cities, there's a ton of condos like this struggling to sell. Condo sales in Toronto, for example, haven't been this low since the financial crisis in 2009.
Condo flippers are getting absolutely slaughtered right now.
In majority of these towers, they are half empty.
Nobody wants these condos, folks.
And here we are in the middle of a housing crisis. It's never been harder to get into the market. And so many of these condos spend so much time sitting empty. Why? That studio we just showed you, we're pretty sure an investor bought it because just a month after it did finally sell for $80K under its original asking price, it was listed for rent.
I think the number one problem is that most of the condos that are listed on the market are investor units.
Investors have really thrown the market out of whack. And when I say investor, I don't want you to think of some, faceless corporation or ultra-wealthy real estate mogul. According to Stats Canada, the typical condo landlord here is actually a, quote, middle-aged, middle-class couple. And for these people, the intention is usually to cover their monthly mortgage payments by renting it out. For decades, this was considered a pretty smart move. Condos were cheap relative to every other kind of property, but their value was rising. And the average rent that landlords could charge tenants was rising steadily too. But now?
It's changed quite drastically. I mean, anecdotally, with my own investors, I shy away from new condos just because of the numbers just don't really make any sense.
Yes, the numbers don't make sense, which has led to an insane number of condos being put up for sale, flooding the market in a way we haven't really seen before. I'll show you what I mean. Let's compare what a condo investment in Toronto looked like in 2016 to today. So according to the Toronto Real Estate Board, the average price of a one-bedroom condo Back then, in 2016, was about $300,000. And with 2016 interest rates, about 2.7%, that worked out to a mortgage payment of about $1,100 a month. Rent for the average one-bedroom apartment at that time was about $1,660. Not bad from an investor point of view. Even with, maintenance fees, property taxes, that condo is essentially paying for itself while you build equity. Now, what if you were to buy a one-bedroom condo today in Toronto? That could cost you about $550,000, so prices have very clearly gone up, but so have interest rates. The carrying costs on a property are far higher than they ever used to be. Well, not ever, but in recent memory. At current rates, 6.8%. Maybe now you're paying more than $3,000 a month for your mortgage payment alone. Then you've got, property taxes, maintenance fees, and the average rent for a unit like that, about $2,400 a month. You're now paying out of pocket.
The average investor is going to be short about $1,000 a month now, right? And that's a tough pill to swallow.
So jack up the rent, right? Well, it's not that easy. Paying more than $3,000 a month for a one-bedroom just isn't possible for most people. The market can only bear so much.
No one will pay the rent that would allow you not to go broke owning that property.
Now, historically, the average investor might try to stick this kind of thing out because the assumption has always been, even if you're losing money in the short term, in the long run, you'll still come out on top. Over the past couple of years, condo prices in many big cities have more or less stalled. And in some cases, depending on when these people bought, their investments might already have lost value. Condo prices in Toronto, for example, skyrocketed between 2017 and 2022. This was great for investors, but many wondered if they were actually becoming overvalued, if there were too many of these condos being built to sustain these prices. At the end of 2022, those prices started to drop, which is especially bad news for investors who've bought since then.
Now the renewal has come in and you're losing a lot of money, but you've actually come to realize in the last 12 months, the price of that condo has probably dropped about $40,000. So you're starting to enter into a state of actual fear.
So no wonder you have so many mom and pop landlords now saying, enough is enough. I'm going to try to sell before I lose any more money. But there's also another group of investors, the pre-construction buyers. And for a lot of them, things are even more dire.
There's some buildings where up to as many as 12 or 15% of the buyers are saying, no, I'm not going to close. Okay, I'm walking away from my deposit.
In the past, in a city like Toronto, you could pretty reliably put money down on a pre-construction condo, wait 2 to 5 years till it was built, and then sell that unit before anyone ever moved in. In most cases, the value of that investment would go up 20, 30, even 40% without you having to do much at all.
From the year 2000 through to, right about to 2020, that was true. But now it's not true. That's absolutely not true.
So these units are completing and they're not worth what the investors paid for them, right? So they paid $1,500 a square foot, but they're only worth $1,300 a square foot.
So some investors are trying to bail on a bad investment. Some can't afford the carrying costs, and lots of them are all in this situation at the same time. So you end up with a flood of condos on the market. But isn't that the very definition of a buyer's market? Like, isn't this great news for people who want to jump in? Well, it would be if these condos had actually been built for the people looking to buy. According to StatsCan, the average size of a new condo in Toronto has shrunk significantly over time. From 1981 to 1990, new condos were on average about 1,000 square feet. From 2016 to 2020, they were around 650 square feet, or about 40% smaller. And if you ask anyone who lives in the downtown core right now, 650 square feet actually feels pretty big.
This is what a 275 square foot condominium looks like in downtown Toronto.
Look how small this bedroom is in this Toronto condo for sale that I was showing.
This is the den. This little cutout in the wall is the den, okay? Doesn't even fit an entire table.
Developing these smaller condos targeted specifically at investors who then turn them around for rent, that was a real business opportunity.
Investors want small units. The yield is better. The price is lower. It's easier to qualify.
According to realtors, it's these teeny tiny investment condos that are currently flooding the market in places like the Greater Toronto area.
Broadly in the GTA, we're looking over 13,000. Majority of these suites are investor units that are listed for sale.
And if you think about it, if those condos were built for investors, just renting them out or flipping them, the focus probably wasn't on quality or functionality or families. Some of these places don't even have closets. According to the realtors we spoke to, investors aren't generally very choosy about whether the floor plan works, whether the finishes are first rate, or what the view looks like, because they have no intention of moving in. They just want the best value for their money. But if someone's taking their entire life savings and putting it into a home that they plan to live in for years, that's a pretty different story.
There was absolutely no thought given to the idea that anyone would buy that place, that sub 500 square foot condo, as a place to permanently live.
Right now, for example, in Toronto and Vancouver, 3/4 of larger condos, the ones, maybe more suitable for a family, built decades ago, those are being lived in by the people who own them. But for those much smaller condos built after 2016, with investors in mind, only about half are being lived in by owners. Remember that cute little studio that we showed you at the start that took 400 some days to sell? It was 330 square feet. Here's a 2-bedroom, 700 square foot unit in that same building. It sold earlier this month on the first try in just 13 days.
If we look at the large cohort of buyers right now, they're predominantly millennials that are looking to enter the market. If you're looking to start a family, it's really tough to start a family in a 1-bedroom condo. Or even if you don't have a family, if you are a millennial and you're a couple, let's say you have a dog, or if you work from home, you need that additional space to be able to either work or raise a family or even just have a guest bedroom. So when we look at the amount of inventory that's available, there's just really nothing. There aren't a lot of options out there.
The analysts we spoke to all said they do expect the price of these smaller units to come down over the next 6 months or so. That doesn't make them any more ideal a place to start a family. But if the price made more sense, that takes some of the sting off, right? Either way, it seems both sides of the housing equation are stuck. Sellers driven to sell can't, and buyers don't like their options.
Andrew Chang from CBC's About That. You can find out more from that team on CBC Gem and on YouTube. Coming up, the unbreakable connection between two remarkable girls.
My dream was to see Sasha, and they helped the dream come true.
Separated by war, best friends finally reunite. Next in our moment. Kira and Sasha are best friends from Ukraine, and they've maintained that friendship despite being torn apart by the ravages of war. A lot has happened since then. Sasha was shot and lost her arm to gangrene. But this weekend, after more than 2 long years apart, the best friends finally embraced in Canada. Their long-awaited reunion is our moment.
I miss her so much, and I couldn't believe that I could just hug her.
The last time we saw each other, it was the morning before the war started. First, she moved to Canada, and I also came there.
I'm very happy that they have this connection. Now we are in the same country, but still 3,000 kilometers between the girls, and they wanted to see each other.
When we got in the news, someone donated to us just so we could meet each other, me and Kira.
So there were two nice people that gave us help to meet each other in Toronto. I just want to say thank you for making this trip possible, for giving me the opportunity to see my best friend again. We had so much fun together. We visited different places.
For me, it was amazing. I really missed Kira. That day was unforgettable for me.
My dream was to see Sasha, and they helped the dream come true.
That is beautiful. And a bit of an update. Sasha has now received a prosthetic arm. She's crossed a lot off on her bucket list as well. She's met the Pope, the Ukrainian president, even threw the first pitch at an MLB game. Both Sasha and Kira say they would love to plan another trip in the future. Maybe to Banff, they say, next time. If you want to know more, check out the story on cbc.ca for all the details. For all of us here at The National, thank you for being with us. You can watch anywhere and anytime on the free CBC News app and subscribe to The National's YouTube channel. I'm Ashley Tomlinson. Take care.